today we have a special guest, Mr. Lance Johnson.
Hey, give it up for Lance.
We're going to be talking a little bit about his life story, but also his book, Like Katherine Has Cancer, a guided deepening marital love. So, where do we want to start?
Oh, man. So I want to say, Lance, I so enjoyed reading this book. I made a little note to myself. I said, this book feels like morning dew, gentle and present in every moment. I felt you in the love, the fear, the disappointment, and the grief. Every word flowed through my heart, carrying both sadness and joy wrapped in deep empathy. It offered quiet reminders of comfort and how effortlessly it can meet us. I love the title as well. Yes. And we'll talk more about the title, but that's how I felt. Like this was such an easy, like Sunday morning, even though it was heavy, it still was this easy, like Sunday morning read that I really enjoyed. I grieved with you as well at the end of the book. And so my deepest condolences to you and your family. But let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your journey just writing this book. Yeah. How was that for you?
Oh my God, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was a journey just getting the book done. I stopped for a minute, got back to it. It took about, I'll say 11 months for me to write the whole book. Chapter 10 was the hardest. Chapter 10 probably took me a month to write, just because the emotions of living that moment back. That was probably the second hardest moment for me, when she actually was in the hospital and going through those things. So, it was really extremely hard writing it. But when I stopped, I said, why I'm writing this book. And I was writing the book to honor her. And so that's what kept me going and saying, hey, I have to finish this. So it's in honor of Katherine. And so that's why I was able to push through and get it done.
Did you write it right away or how long? Well, I know it wasn't right away, but how long after her passing did you begin to write?
It probably was about 8 to 10 months after she passed, because I was in counseling. And my counselor, he wanted me to write 10 questions that, about our marriage or how I can help someone else. He felt like that would be good homework and good healing. And me, I didn't just write 10 questions. I wrote 10 questions, I answered them. Mm-hmm. And so when I brought it back to him, he was like, this is powerful. He said, you should think about writing a book. I was like, I couldn't even read in second grade. I never thought about writing a book.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and I went forward and just started writing. And those 10 questions are the 10 chapters in the book.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Did somebody have to push you to go to therapy? Was it something that you wanted to do for yourself? How did that whole process get started?
I know I needed to heal. Mm-hmm. And I have a really close relationship with my pastors at church. Okay. And they said, hey, this is something you may have to do. And well, not may, I have to do. But I was putting it off because I was worried about my daughters. I was worried about, their healing and things that they was going through. I really didn't start grieving until I started writing this book, because I was so worried. Everybody was around, my church, my life group. Everyone was there. Mm-hmm. And when things really slowed down after the first 6-7 months, things slowed down. That's when I began to realize that I needed a lot of work that I needed to do. So,
well, kudos to you for going to therapy. We just talked about how important it is to seek therapy. How did you feel? I know the pastors kind of encouraged you, but how was the process of finding the right therapist for you, especially with grief being?
I went through 2. I had someone from the church that they had recommended. He had to stop doing therapy, stop his business because of a hate crime or something to his son. And he wanted to, be with his family. And so I then reached out to the VA because I'm an Army veteran. I reached out to them for counseling, and they referred someone to me out of Houston. And so I did I did video therapy over the phone and over the computer with her, and she was an amazing therapist. It was probably the best decision. I'm kind of glad that I switched because she was an amazing therapist, and I did therapy for a year, twice a week most of the time. So it was a lot of work that we put in. One of my goals was to want to love again because it was hard thinking about loving again and knowing that the relationship that me and Catherine had and her passing was one of the hardest thing I've ever dealt with. So now starting over, wanting to love again, I didn't see myself doing that. So that's one of my goals of therapy.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
We gotta get to that.
That's good, though.
I agree.
But did therapy hurt? Did it hurt physically? Like, was it painful? Did you die? You know?
Yeah, she challenged me, man. I did not like her at one point. I was like, this lady, who she thinks she is? Like, for real? Like, you don't know? And so I didn't like her for a minute, but she continued to dig, and she didn't care how I feel. She was focused on my goals at the beginning of what I wanted. And so it did hurt. She made me do something that I thought was sacred, and I wanted to do it in my own time. She was like, no, do it now. We had this blessings jar, and we started probably like a year or two before Catherine passed. And every so often we'll write a little sticky note and put it in the jar. And we was like, hey, one day we just, gonna go over what we were putting. And so I used to look at the jar all the time. I was like, I'm not opening it. Because we had never went over it or went over the sticky notes that was in the jar. I know I was putting sticky notes in it. She was putting sticky notes. And I'm like, and she was like, I think you should share a moment with her. I'm like, how am I share a moment with her? And she said, hey, you should go to the grave and like open the jar at the grave site. And so that's what I did. I went to the grave site, opened the jar, and 4 hours of crying.
Yeah.
So.
Did it feel healing though?
Yes, it did. It definitely helped me because sometime I was like, it's good to hear or know her words and to see that she's saying, you was a great husband. I love you so much. I love this time. I can't believe you did this. It was so amazing. You made me so happy. Like, so when I'm seeing her writing and knowing that this is her words, that gave me healing and let me know that, hey, she really did love me. Like, our love was real.
I know.
We love love, right?
We love
it's just such a beautiful thing to experience in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Not many get to go through marriage, love, pure love, and you've went through it and experienced
The grief.
the grief of it all. In your book, one of the things you said, let me see if I can find it right quick. I wanted to take so many notes.
I know.
Go ahead, Cannon, while I look for it.
Well, while she's looking for that, as far as like your physical health, because whenever we grieve, sometimes, we can go through little spells of having issues with our physical health. Did you experience anything different as far as like your stress levels, anything like that as far as, grief was concerned?
Yes, it was definitely stressful. I could remember like when she passed, I went probably like a day or two without eating. No, it's like 2 or 3. But I had a community. I had so many people around me, just trying to hold me up. Like my life group at church, they made sure I ate. My best friend Brandon, he's actually Catherine's cousin. He's the reason why we met. He was there. My cousin Tiger. I had 2 or 3 guys from the life group. They made sure I was eating, I was getting taken care of, and even though I didn't want to come out the room, they was, they was right there knocking on the door. Hey, you need to eat something. You need to do something. Hey, you want to go walk? And things like that. So even when I did not want to be bothered, they was like, look, we're not leaving you. So it was good. So that kind of kept me going.
How old were your children whenever your wife passed?
So my younger one, daughter Aubrey, she was 6, and Malia, my oldest, was 10.
Okay.
So 6 and 10.
How hard was that for you to have to manage your own emotions, but then still have to be a parent to two daughters that are young?
That is the reason why I kept going. They are definitely the reason why I kept going. It was many times I felt like I was holding on to a string, but then I look up and it was God holding the string. So that gave me comfort that I stayed close to God. And again, I had a community. So the lady that wrote the afterword, Jada Edwards, she's my pastor's wife. She called me on the way home from the hospital. And I did not want to answer the phone, but when you see Jada calling your phone,
Yeah.
you're like, hold up, I'm going to answer this one. And she had left the hospital a day before, and she said, Lance, what are you going to tell the girls? Because it was their first day of school.
Yeah.
The day she passed was a Wednesday. And I was like, Jada, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. She said, well, I think the guy he lived in Ohio. And she said, hey, I have a guy that lived in Ohio. His wife passed in her sleep, and he had 4 daughters. And it happened like 2 years ago. I think you should call him. He should be able to help you and, give you some guidance on how he told his daughters. And so I called him. That was the best conversation I ever had. And I realized that it's about your perspective on things.
Yeah.
And so he talked to me about that and said, hey, you got to make sure you tell your daughters there's something amazing that their mom did. 95% of people live in the world and try to live right so that they can go to heaven. And so you have to let them know that your mom has completed her task and she made it to heaven. And she did something amazing that everybody tried to do, and they should be proud. And so instead of being sad and instead of like just crying the whole day, he was able to help me give this news to my daughters. And we probably had about 40 to 50 people in our house at the time.
Jeez, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. And so I took my daughters in the room and I talked to them about some of the things he told me, asked them questions, let them ask me questions. And at the end, he told me to do something that I didn't understand, but I'm glad I did it. He asked me to ask them if they wanted me to tell them something funny about how me and mommy met or when we first started dating. And I did, and it was like, yeah, what about when y'all was in college? Could you tell us something funny? And so I told him how, I needed to study for some exams, and Catherine she went to Georgia State. I went to Natchitoches, and that was in Atlanta, and she had to drive. She drove all the way from Atlanta to Northwestern to help me study for my finals. And her dad was super mad. He was like, you ain't going down there to see no dude. But me and Catherine knew each other from 8th grade. So we was friends, first. And even though I knew her whole family, I didn't know her dad. And her dad was like, nah, I'm not having it. So she went against her dad's wishes to come. And they was laughing. They thought it was funny that Papa Williams was mad about that. And so we actually walked out the room, in good spirits. And everyone, when we walked out and the girls they was there to console us and to be there for the girls and hug them if they're crying and things like that. But when they walked out and they were smiling and was in a good mood, they couldn't understand why. So I just sat down and I told everyone, what had transpired, the conversation I had, how Jada had helped me to get in contact with this guy, and it was amazing. And so from that moment, I realized, like, wow, my girls are okay. Like, it's going to be hard. They're going to be sad, but we're going to be okay.
In your book, I noticed you talk a lot about time.
Yes.
How has Catherine's passing away changed your view on the time we have here?
Man, Catherine was adamant about spending time with each other, adamant about me taking the girls on dates, adamant about like understanding what's important, and family was at the top of the list. And she was adamant about us going to church together, and things like that. So, I was kind of laid back and I did a lot. I had the organization, I had a job, and I coach, I train. And so Catherine was adamant about, hey, that's other people's kids. So you need to spend time with your kids. You need to spend time with me. So every Thursday at lunchtime, we went walk, we did lunch. That was our time. So she felt like no matter how busy you get, I got my Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, and then she would, want me to go take the girls on dates, and she always remind me to take them to the daddy-daughter dance and stuff like that. So she was adamant about spending time with family. And so now I try to make sure I do the same thing, make sure I spend time with the girls, make sure we do things, make sure I'm involved in the things they're involved with. And so those things that she talked to us about and really kind of taught me about time, I continue to carry that with me today. So I am big on spending time with the people I love.
Because we get busy, right?
Yes.
And we kind of put things, or I can see her tomorrow, or I'm guilty,
Yeah.
I can call them tomorrow, or I'll go the next time they gather, because I'm big on family too. But when I just telling Cannon I missed a moment with my nephew, and I just beat myself up. So how do you find this balance, or what advice would you give to coaches who have this, that spend a lot of time with other kids, and the wife is, or the mom is probably like, but you don't really spend that amount of time. What advice? Because I think it's important to talk about balance in these moments, especially as a husband, and you're trying to run your own organization. Then you're, like she said, being with other people's kids when you have your own. So what advice would you give to coaches out there?
I had to realize that we can have our passions. We can have our ministries. But your first ministry and your first passion that God gives you is your family, especially as a man. As a man, you have to minister your home, your household first before you're trying to minister other people or other kids. And so just this year, I actually not quit, but stopped my organization for a couple of years. I've been running for 14 straight years. I won't be doing it this year because my daughters are getting older. My oldest, she's Miss Texas, and she's in pageants and competing all over, and photo shoots, and she was on the news and things like that. My little one, she's running track, playing basketball. We actually have a track meet this weekend in Alabama. I am going.
Yeah.
But I stopped my organization because I wanted to make sure I minister to my kids and my family and be there for them. And it was a point Katherine always said. She said, one day you might have to give Prodigy up because your kid's going to need you more.
Yeah.
And she always used to say that. And I'm like, nah, you going to be here. Like, we going to make this thing work. But it came that time. Like, she's not here. And like she said, I have to pick. And I made sure, and she made sure that when the time come, I know I had to pick my kids first. So that's what I've done. So this year I won't be running my organization. I'll be solely with my kids this summer.
Wow.
How difficult is that for you?
Hard.
I was about to ask the same question.
Because you've been doing this for 14 years, so to just leave this baby that you have built from the ground up.
Not just 14 years, 14 successful years. So I've put countless kids in college. We've never had a losing season. So it's been 14 successful seasons, and I love coaching. But I recently started working at Legacy Christian Academy. Mm-hmm. That's the school my daughter go to. So she's in middle school, but I coach the high school team. I'm an assistant coach for the high school team. So I'm still able to coach, but it fits in a schedule of me still being able to provide and be there with my kids.
Another thing you said in your book is, I think it aligns here perfectly. You said God has taught you about good versus great. Mm-hmm. You didn't say, those are not the exact words. Mm-hmm. But Dr. Miles Monroe talks about that a lot, showing us what we're good at, but God has a way of showing us what we're great at. Mm-hmm. And so I think Katherine kind of prepared you in a sense for this moment. Ain't God funny?
Yes,
like
that's crazy.
That?
Yes.
Do you look at it as preparation? When you think back of some of the things she might have said, that God was just really preparing you for what was to come?
Yes, it was definitely preparation. Because I look at the man I was 3-4 years ago, I'm totally different. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it actually saddens me because I'm like, the man I am today, I wish I could have gave that man to Catherine. And so sometimes I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes I cry because I'm like, dang, what have I done to deserve this? Deserve my life, even though, looking back, being homeless in college, coming up poor, not having much, getting bullied, not having a speech problem when I was young, like a lot of trials, right? But I feel like God has prepared me every step of the way for everything.
So, and I think that side comes with just a deep appreciation for you walking this journey out and sharing it with us. Yeah. And I'm telling you, this book is just written so beautifully. It just makes me feel like I know you and Catherine in a sense. Even the girls, like I know you. One of the questions was, when caregiving and grief became your daily reality, what happened to your own health? And what do you wish someone would have told you about surviving that season?
All right. First, I'll say caregiving is not a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably the hardest thing that I had to do, because I had to care for her, and to not really show the emotion that I wanted to show was hard, because that emotion could affect her. Mm-hmm. And so the hardest moment was caregiving. I think it was hard, because just like, okay, so I went to Iraq. I was at war. I saw some things. But seeing her go through the radiation, that was the hardest thing I've probably ever done, because I had to keep the face that everything's okay. And one time she almost threw up, because the radiation burned her under her arm, all the way across her chest, and under her other arm. And I had to put gloves on and put like this white ointment all over, and then wrap in bandages. And so when she first saw it, she almost like threw up. Mm-hmm. And when she finishes, like, Lance, like, that don't bother you? It was killing me inside. I was like, nah, I saw worse in Iraq.
Yeah.
And I lied, but I felt like in that moment I had to, just so that she feel okay with herself. So that was hard. So I wish I had a resource like Love Like Katherine Has Cancer, because that would have helped me to understand some stuff, read some stuff, think about some of the questions. So I wish I would have had that resource. And so that's what I wish, going through that, I wish I would have had a resource, or it's not much that I wish I had, because honestly, my life group and my church, my community was amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, even when she first got sick, from the sickness, us fighting through it, and also the death. And even now, they're still involved, so I can't wish for much, because they were so amazing, but I wish I had a resource that I can read, or just someone would share their experiences. It wasn't a lot of resources out there. So that's another reason why I actually wrote the journal. That's why I wrote the journal.
So how are you taking care of yourself? Because a lot of caregivers actually die before the person they're taking care of or get sick. So how are you taking care of your own heart health, spiritual health, physical, mental, all the things?
So when Catherine first got sick, we started researching and doing different things, because we did some type of test, that showed that she didn't get cancer from genetics or anything. It's something she was exposed to, or something she ate. And so when we did that, we just started doing research on, eating healthy and things like that. And so we quickly went vegan. And I lasted about 3 months. And I was like, I got to find something else.
Yeah.
So I became pescatarian, where I could eat seafood, which was amazing. I'm still pescatarian. But at the time I was 274. And when we went vegan, the first 3 months, I was battling my own health stuff. So I was on borderline for diabetes. I had high blood pressure and I had high cholesterol. When we went vegan, those 3 months, I went back to the doctor for a checkup, and she was going to put me on high blood pressure medicine and stuff like that. But when I went back to the doctor and she ran our tests and everything had changed. And she was like, "What have you done? Like your vitals, everything is amazing." I was like, "Well, I don't eat red meat anymore. I'm, vegan." She was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "You've also lost 20 pounds. And so from there, I was like, this is something I must do because Catherine is sick and I can't afford to be sick as well. Then our girls won't have anyone if both of us pass. So at that time, me and Catherine really decided to go on a health kick and really just make it a lifestyle. So I'm from Louisiana. I got home after the talk and after I came from the doctor's appointment and I was like, "I'm serious." She was like, "How serious you are?" I said, "Watch." Went to the deep freezer, threw away all the meat, steaks, boudin, threw all of it away.
Help us.
And so I went, oh, wow, just really trying to be healthy. And I'm still trying to make sure I eat healthy and exercise and things like that.
It's so important to be here and be here well. And Catherine's life saved your life.
It did.
Yeah.
It really did.
So good.
I'm going to ask another question because I have questions. Okay. In Love Like Katherine, what did Katherine teach you about love in real time? And how has the definition of love changed since her passing?
Oh, that's an amazing question. She taught me to love now. Not tomorrow, but now. Not next week, now. Because tomorrow's not promised. And so I had to make sure I love hard and I realize the time that I have to spend with my loved ones may not be forever. And so in the book, I talk about love better, right? That's the thing of the book, love better. And so I feel I love better now because of the experiences that we went through and because of our debt. So that was one of my things when I was going through counseling. I said, I want to learn how to love again. And so from what I went through with Catherine and also writing the book, it makes me love harder, spend more time, and love better, and wanting to have love. Because I always said I was only going to get married once. I always said if it don't work out between me and Catherine, I wasn't doing it again. Because marriage is hard. But truly. So yes.
Marriage is hard, and this book to me is profound. I think it's great for especially people who are just now getting married, but it's also good for us that's been married for several years and we've gotten comfortable. And this book reminds us to be intentional.
Yes.
Because we get complacent.
Yeah.
In our love. And I think you teach a lot about how to be better with love in general. Like maybe not arguing about everything because everything is not as big or as important to be arguing about, or, just
let it go.
So you went through counseling, and one of the things you wanted to do was to love again. Where are you now in your life with love? Because the audience wants to know.
You messy?
I knew she was going to ask. Love it.
No, I've dated, and currently I have a girlfriend. So.
Hey, I do think that everybody always seems to ask that, though. If after, someone has experienced grief, how long do you feel like people put pressure on, like how long you should wait?
I didn't care about none of that. I didn't care because I knew Catherine wishes. I knew Catherine wanted me to date. She wanted me to get married again, and she wanted me to get someone that can come in my life and I can exemplify what a husband looked like to my daughters, and someone that can pick up from where she left off and raise our daughters, because they're so young. And so me and Catherine had conversations about, hey, if something ever happened to me, like, I want you to. And we always talk like about the time. And so I knew our time. And she had said, hey, I know for you, like, it may be quicker than for me. For me, it might take me years.
Yeah.
But for you, like maybe 6 months to a year. And I was like, she was like, well, just to be safe, year and a half. After a year and a half, make sure you're on a path to try to find love and to try to exemplify what a husband and what a man loving a woman look like to my daughters. She was adamant about that. Because I used to say, hey, if it don't work out with us, I'm going to be in these streets. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be a single dad.
But it's funny to me that you told, because anytime we say, no, I'm not doing this, or no, I'm not doing that, it's to me, we're having this conversation with God, telling him exactly what we're not doing. And he's somewhere like, yeah, I didn't really write it that way.
Right.
I wrote it this way. You're going to do this, Lance.
Yes.
So it seems like you're at that moment where you thought you wasn't going to marry again, get serious again, but here we are.
Yeah, I realize I'm a dad. I'm a husband. And honestly, I don't want to be in the streets. Not for me.
I thought the streets was saying the streets.
Not for me.
The
I
streets
thought I
is
did.
not calling anybody's name.
Got
at
out
this
there and was
point.
like, yeah.
I changed my mind.
It's okay, I'm good.
Yes.
You titled this book "Love Like Katherine Has Cancer," and you describe it toward the end, I believe it was, of why you named it that. And I just lost my cousin to prostate cancer, and I watched his wife take such great care of him, and it was such a long process of going through the ups and downs, and you watch him be okay in this moment and not okay in this moment. And then to watch her, and that's how I saw you. Because she was just so attentive to his and he watched her the whole time. And so I could see you tending to Catherine the same way. Talk about why you named this book.
Okay. Well, first, I got to give Jada some credit. The book title was Love Like Kathy Has Cancer, because that was her nickname. And so when I sent it to Jada was like,
Who's Jada?
Jada Edwards. She is my pastor's wife. She
Jada,
wrote the
yes.
afterword.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yes.
I was like, wait a minute, who's Jada? Yes.
So Jada Edwards, she wrote the afterword in the book.
Yes.
And she was like, I think you should put her name. You should put her whole name, because you want your title to be clear, precise. And Caddy people might think it's a cat. People might think it's something else. And then you want people to know her name. So put her name. And so I put it to Love Like Katherine Has Cancer. The reason why I titled it that, because we love our spouse. We love the people that we're with. But it wasn't until Catherine got cancer when I really learned how to love her, when I really learned how to be a good husband. I feel like I was a good husband. I felt like I was okay, But we all go through that stage where we're just floating and we think we're doing okay, but okay is not good enough. And so I learned how to love her. I had like 7 or 8 teams in my organization. I cut back to 3. I took her to all our appointments now it was some problems because the life group ladies was trying to bully me and not taking her to all the appointments. And I'm like, y'all tripping, I'm going. Yeah. And so, so I had to fight them with that, but I was present. I was there. I spent more time with the girls. I did more. I didn't let Catherine get up in the mornings. I got up in the mornings, take the girls to school. And it was things like that. I made sacrifices that husbands should make. Even, through the battle of 2 years, like she did things that I didn't like. I didn't bring it up. I didn't fuss about it. I let it go because it really did not matter. And so many times we nitpick and we fuss about things that don't matter. But if you treat someone, or if you have in your mind, they're not promised to be here, one day I may not have them, or they may have a sickness, how much more would you love that person? And so that's where the name of the book, Love Like Katherine Has Cancer. The last 2 years of our life, I love her so hard. I was that husband that I wanted to be for her, right? And so that's where the name of the book comes from.
Really.
So I would want everyone to love, like, take Catherine out and put your spouse name in there.
Or
Love
anyone.
like that.
I love it. You can just replace it with anyone.
Yeah.
I love this book. It's just so much I want to say about it, Lance.
It really is.
I really didn't expect it to go to flow like it did. I didn't know what to expect, but I love how you just didn't give it away at the beginning. You just led us through the entire journey. Talk to us before we go about the end. If we can just go there for a minute about the end of this book. The moment in the hospital when she sits up. I want to know all the things.
Oh my God. I knew God was real. But that moment solidified it for me. Okay. I'm sitting there, I'm holding her hand, and Dr. Allen, Jennifer Allen, good friend of ours, she delivered our girls. Before I went in the room, she said, hey, we know Catherine don't have that much longer. I just want to prepare you. And that's another thing. Like, my community is amazing. I was prepared as much as I could be. Mm-hmm. But she said, I just want to prepare you for those last moments. Those last moments, her jaw might get kind of sideways, or she might start breathing heavy. And she told me a couple other things. But she was like, that's signs of her organs and her body shutting down. And I want you to, be prepared to know how that look. And so I was like, okay, cool. So we went in and they administer the medicine so that she's comfortable. She wasn't, after this medicine, we had to tell her our goodbyes. But after the medicine, she wasn't supposed to be able to talk. Wasn't supposed to be able to move or anything. She just would be laying there until she take her last breath. And so they administered the medicine, and the doctors did all the stuff they wanted to do. And, I asked everyone to leave so I have a moment with her after that or whatever. So, talking to people, and, they kind of getting out and, outside in the hallway. And then, I was letting other people say goodbye and all that. So the medicine had probably kicked in. It was at least 30 minutes or whatever, 20, 30 minutes. So I'm sitting, I'm praying, and I'm just talking, promising, how I'm going to take care of the girls and stuff like that. And she started breathing heavy. And I'm like, okay, this is what Dr. Allen was talking about. She started breathing heavy, and her breathing changed. And I was like, no, not right now. Not now. I need more time. Mm-hmm. And she was breathing heavy, and I was pleading. And all of a sudden, she sat up, and she was like looking up. And she had big eyes. She had some big eyeballs. But her big eyes was like wide open, and she's looking up. And she said, Jesus. And I said, Catherine? And I was like waving in front of her face. And I look, I'm like, what are you looking at? Mm-hmm. And I just instantly start crying. Like bawling, because I'm like, she's about to leave. She's gone, right? Mm. And this is the moment or whatever. And then I was like, I was cutting up, and all of a sudden she turned to me and she put her hand on my face and she said, I love you. And then she laid back down. And that's the last thing she said. And about 30 to 45 minutes, she passed. And so that moment, I really didn't think about it too much at the time. But probably a day or two later, I just was thinking about the moment, because I couldn't stop thinking about the last moments. And I was thinking about that moment, and I'm like, wow, she saw Jesus. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, I was destroyed. I was crying. I'm talking about the ugly cry with like snot and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't deserve that moment. but God knew I needed that moment.
Yeah.
I needed her to tell me she loved me one more time. I needed her to tell me that so I knew everything would be okay and she loved me. So despite what the doctors said, that she wouldn't be able to move, she wouldn't be able to talk, she wouldn't be able to see, or she'd just be laying there, like, God had another plan. And I didn't deserve that moment, but God gave me that moment because he knew I needed it.
Well, that gave me chills.
I love it. I love that you were allowed that moment and it's yours. And no one can take it from you. I can say that heaven is very real as a heaven visitor in my story. So I love hearing things like that. And God knows what we need even when we don't even know in those moments. 'Cause like you said, you were so distraught.
Yeah.
But when you got a chance to kind of settle down, you could see God handwriting through all of it, and I'm so grateful for that.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
If you could give anybody walking through kind of the same similar story, maybe not a wife, maybe a child, or anybody who's grieving, somebody who has cancer, who has a terminal illness, what would you tell them as far as how to get through the journey?
I know two reasons. My will to want to be there for my daughters. So focus on the people you love and also have a community, because I would not have been able to get through that journey without my community, without my church, my life group, and some family members. I would not been able to get through the journey. So just make sure you have that community. And then lastly, pray and lean on God. You know, Proverbs 3rd chapter 5th and 6th verse says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, lean not on your own understanding, but acknowledge him in all your ways and he shall direct your path. And so if you can focus on that, when we was going through the journey, I used to say that all day, along with Ephesians 3:20. You know, it's just, I said those two verses, those 3-4 verses every day. And those things guided me and helped me through the journey. So trust in God, have that community, and live for someone. Or try to fight for someone.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
And where can we find your journals, your books? Where would be a good place for us to go shop for those things?
You can go on Amazon and type in Love Like Katherine Has Cancer, or type in my name and it'll pop up. Or you can go to our website, lovelikekatherine.com, and they're also sold on that. And if you go to the website and get the book, we'll also sign it and ship it to you as well. So you'll get a signature book if you go through the website.
Awesome. Hopefully this is not the last that we will see of you. Hopefully you'll come back and visit us soon.
Actually, I have another book I just finished.
Oh, tell us about it.
It's a daily devotional for athletes, and hopefully it'll be out before the end of the year. And it's just amazing to help athletes on and off the court. So it should be out soon.
We love this as counselors. We love books
sure.
and we love journals. So
Love journals.
and
please.
we look out for the new book.
Yes.
Yeah, be out soon. When is the release date? Do you know?
Definitely before New Year.
For New Year.
We're
So
doing
look
some
for it on
changes.
Amazon.
On Amazon.
All
yes.
Lance Johnson, people.